On April 28, 2021, Miguel Lamboy visited the Moffett police station in Colorado, making a remarkable declaration. He disclosed that should officers promptly visit his residence, they would encounter the mummified remains of a woman located in one of the rear bedrooms. The woman identified was Amy Carlson. The individual asserted he was unaware of the cause of her death or the manner in which her remains were transported to his Colorado home from California. He explained that he had not resided in that dwelling in recent years, instead offering it as a temporary refuge for transient visitors. He claimed to have just come back from a business journey, only to find the distressing discovery in the bedroom. Following his report, law enforcement officers proceeded to his residence for an examination. Upon entry, they encountered an unexpectedly celebratory environment within the house. The hallway was embellished with vibrant lanterns guiding to the distant room, which was alive with twinkling and gleaming lights. The bedroom was festooned in a whimsical theme featuring unicorns, rainbows, heart decals, and soft toys, primarily in hues of pink. The bed was arranged as a ceremonial area. At its heart was a turquoise sleeping bag, illuminated by fairy lights, encasing a decaying corpse. The state of the cadaver indicated that the woman had passed away several weeks prior. Her pale, excessively thin skin seemed almost surreal. Her face was sparkled and appeared to be painted. The eyes had deeply sunk, leaving merely 2 dark cavities in her visage. Her lips had withered and dried to the extent that her teeth were prominently exposed. A downy blanket with star and planet motifs covered the remainder of the body. In addition to the mummified remains, 7 adults and 2 slumbering children were found within the premises, all seemingly cohabitating unperturbed by the presence of the corpse in the rear room. All 7 adults were detained on charges of mishandling a corpse. The children and the 7 adults found residing in the house represented merely a fraction of a collective known as Love Has Won. This label was attached to a novel spiritual movement spearheaded by 45-year-old Amy Carlson, the same individual whose preserved remains were discovered in the Moffett, Colorado residence. The Love Has Won organization sustained itself through contributions from its online followers. They operated a YouTube channel on which daily updates were shared, communications were broadcasted, and all activities were orchestrated under the guidance of Amy Carlson, even posthumously, who was venerated as Mother God. Prior to leading this group, she had worked as a manager at McDonald's. Amy was born on November 30th, 1975, in Kansas, and she was the oldest of 3 sisters. From a young age, she was aware of her extraordinary talents. Her supernatural abilities started to show by the age of 5, when she began communicating with angels. Concerned by her abilities, her parents sought the counsel of various church pastors. On one occasion during a sermon, Amy experienced a psychological episode, declaring the pastor's words to be untrue and loudly insisting on this until she was escorted outside. This narrative comes from Carlson herself, though her family members do not acknowledge such events. Amy was an exemplary student and was seen by those who knew her as a kindly and gentle rural girl who was reserved and never caused disturbances. At the age of 9, Amy's parents divorced, and her father remarried. The custody dispute resulted in the children dividing their time between their mother's home in Kansas and their father and stepmother's residence in Oklahoma. Amy spent her teenage years like any other teen, except she maintained a fondness for childlike motifs such as unicorns and rainbows, amassed a collection of soft toys, and loved all things pink and glittery. Her parents believed she would outgrow these interests, but Amy remained attached to them, considering them not just decorations, but part of her essence. After completing high school, Amy relocated to Houston, Texas, engaging in church choirs and theater. It was during this period that she began to express interest in more esoteric subjects, including extraterrestrial vehicles, and viewing herself as a higher entity. Her choices in partners were poor, leading to 3 marriages and 3 children with different fathers by her early 20s. Her fascination with these interests eventually eroded the emotional bond with her last husband. The presence of her children did not deter her pursuit of new and exciting experiences. Carlson did not embody the nurturing maternal figure and often left her children in the care of others, demonstrating a lack of the altruistic trait typically seen in parents, finding even her own children's company tedious. Amy's interest in New Age spirituality grew, and by the early 2000s, she was actively participating in a forum called Lightworkers, a community that believed in mutual healing and elevation, striving to achieve their fullest potential collectively. She dedicated numerous hours to interacting with fellow forum users who shared her interests, particularly engaging with an individual named Amrit Whiterig, with whom she communicated most extensively. On September 1st, 2007, Carlson shared a captivating entry on the forum, claiming she had been visited by a celestial entity. This entity disclosed to her that she was destined to become the President of the United States. She narrated an incident where, while cleaning the kitchen, she felt a nudge on her shoulder. Turning around, she found no one there, but then she received a communication informing her of her future role as the nation's leader. The message, though akin to the sound of violins, was interpreted by Amy as a divine signal. Whiterig held her in high esteem at that juncture, feeling her ethereal energy resonate with his. They began to describe their connection as a single soul split between two bodies. This notion was romantic, yet it bore a negative consequence on others. Amrit persuaded Amy that she was the earthly manifestation of divinity, encouraging her belief for either genuine conviction or opportunistic reasons. She adopted the title Mother God and insisted on being addressed as such. Amy, who had always relished assuming different personas, conveyed to her admirer that no singular form could encompass the entirety of Father God's essence, suggesting that Father God was dispersed among various men. This rationalization allowed her the liberty to engage with multiple partners, believing herself capable of embodying the full spectrum of the Creator's energy. The concept of being Mother God captivated Amy far more than the mundane reality of being a conventional mother to her children. Ultimately, she chose to distance herself completely from her familial ties, informing her husband of her departure and severing connections with most of her kin. Motivated by her calling, Amy made her way to Crestone, Colorado, to join forces with her counterpart Amrit Whiterig, aiming to initiate a global awakening. Recognizing the enormity of their mission, they established the term Galactic Federation of Light, and, in December 2009, started disseminating their beliefs via a YouTube channel. Their teachings were a blend of New Age spiritual conspiracy theories and certain mainstream religious practices, with a central emphasis on the adoration of Mother God. Online, Amy was portrayed as a celestial entity, aged 19 billion years, who had manifested everything as Mother God. She informed her followers that she had experienced 534 reincarnations, including lives as Jesus, Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, and Marilyn Monroe, a mix that did not faze Carlson. Her declared goal was to guide 144,000 select individuals into the legendary fifth dimension. Furthermore, Amy professed that Donald Trump had been her father in a previous existence, and that she maintained a profound connection with the spirit of the deceased actor Robin Williams, now deemed an archangel. Williams, according to her, was a part of her spiritual cadre, frequently relaying messages from the afterlife. She also claimed to possess an advanced technology responsible for the cataclysm that engulfed Atlantis. Although she salvaged this technology, she couldn't fully transition to her fifth dimension since humanity wasn't prepared for her ascension. Historically, female-led cults are uncommon, yet Amy's exceptional charisma and influence enabled her to sway and control those in her circle. Amy, self-styled as Mother God, aimed to establish harmony on Earth and lead humanity towards a significant spiritual awakening, followed by an ascension with 144,000 devoted followers aboard starships to a blissful realm. Her vision promised a higher state of consciousness devoid of suffering for her followers, whereas all non-believers would be condemned to dwell on the sun, destined to combust and petrify. Carlson propagated the belief that the world was under the sway of a secretive elite cadre, intent on sustaining a global, low-vibrational energy level. Amy rallied a close-knit group of approximately 17 followers who resided with her, conducting daily live streams on YouTube to expand their audience and boost their subscriber base, a critical measure to support their communal lifestyle through donations. Despite the incredulity of her claims, individuals were drawn to her, severing ties with their families, surrendering their finances, and dedicating themselves to the worship of Mother God. Initially, the live broadcasts were managed by Whiterig and Amy, but the responsibility gradually shifted to their adherents. Nearly every stream teased the imminent arrival of spaceships to Earth, yet each new session deferred this event, attributing the delay to widespread human ailments, global corruption, and the general populace's oblivion. In this precarious juncture, they deemed it imperative to retain Amy's presence on Earth. Their broadcasts attracted thousands who donated eagerly, prayed for global cleansing, and Amy's eventual ascension to her destined plane. This repetitive cycle, finding Amy still among the living each day, proved to be a source of distress for her followers. Beyond soliciting donations, Carlson marketed dietary supplements online and offered what she termed etheric surgery for $88 a session. This service, purportedly conducted by Amy, claimed to eradicate all physical and spiritual maladies, and astonishingly, numerous individuals availed themselves of this so-called etheric surgical procedure. Emmy's partnership with Whiterig concluded in 2014 after he chose to end their relationship. However, Carlson swiftly found a successor in 35-year-old Miguel Lamboy, whom she bestowed the title of Archangel Michael Silver, and together they embarked on a renewed venture named Love Has Won. Throughout the years, Emmy continued to assert her divine status, nominating various individuals to assume the mantle of Father God. At the time, it was believed by Carlson and fellow group members that Miguel was battling advanced lung cancer, having already undergone the removal of one lung, with his survival appearing precarious. Yet his devout belief in Amy's purported mystical abilities facilitated his recovery. Consequently, Miguel was prepared to support her unconditionally. Miguel's role extended beyond his spiritual duties alongside Carlson. He was instrumental in managing the logistical and financial aspects of the Love Has Won movement. By 2019, it had been established as a non-profit charitable entity, with all pertinent legal documentation registered under his name. This arrangement was intended to ensure that, should Amy ascend, she would remain unencumbered by earthly belongings and free from legal obligations. From 2014 to 2018, the movement experienced significant growth online. Those residing with Amy affectionately referred to her as their mother, a title she reciprocated by calling them her children. Initially, she truly embodied the nurturing qualities of a compassionate, attentive caregiver, offering guidance and comfort to each member. Her presence was a source of sustenance for all, but as time passed, Carlson's demeanor drastically changed. She began to consume alcohol excessively, evolving into a harsh, authoritarian figure prone to unpredictable and severe outbursts towards her followers. She unjustly accused them of betrayal without any evidence, subjected them to physical punishment, regulated their intimate relationships, and prohibited their alcohol consumption. Unable to cope with his partner's escalating alcoholism, Miguel Lamboy discreetly departed, leaving his whereabouts unknown. In 2018, Carlson encountered Jason Castillo, who assumed the role of the new Father God. As Amy's inseparable ally, he supported her through her alcohol-fueled lifestyle, which had by that time inflicted significant harm on her physique, rendering her unable to walk. Instead of assisting her, Castillo simply transported her wherever needed, showing tenderness towards Amy, yet displaying a harsh and aggressive demeanor towards others residing with them. The nature of their live streams evolved, with members of the group spending hours in front of the camera, occasionally responding to followers' inquiries or sharing snippets of their everyday activities. Amy and Jason, despite living under the same roof, never made an appearance on these broadcasts. This circumstance persisted for several months, and followers from various regions grew anxious about Mother God's location. They received information that Amy was engaged in a conflict with the elite and had sustained severe injuries. Allegedly undergoing spiritual etheric surgery, her devotees were advised to pray for her healing. In truth, Carlson was caught in such an extensive period of heavy drinking that she almost ceased consuming food. On September 13, 2018, Amy Carlson presented herself to her followers, looking severely thin, brittle, and notably weak. She attributed her state to having assimilated and neutralized 99% of the planet's negative energies, which resulted in her ill health and nearly confined her to bed. Her revelation that her physical form might not withstand much longer led her to impose stringent sleep limits on her group, to ensure there was always someone available to help her. Sleeping beyond 5 hours was met with penalties, and casual eating was banned. The communications from their YouTube channel took on an increasingly menacing, antagonistic, and arrogant tone, designed to intimidate viewers and critique the flaws of the current world in an effort to solicit more financial contributions. Amy, gravely sick, would make appearances in videos asking for medicine, which in reality was tequila. Ex-members of the group reminisced about their time with Love Has Won, noting an initial phase of profound self-discovery, acceptance, and affection. Yet they quickly found themselves relegated to menial labor, filling their time with domestic duties, entertainment like dance, games, or protracted prayer sessions. The stringent diet and sleep protocols led to loss of weight and deteriorating health. Despite the detrimental atmosphere, the initial weeks were recalled as the most joyful period of their lives, with a complete dedication to the great mission. As the COVID-19 pandemic spread, the Love Has Won organization started marketing colloidal silver as a cure, despite warnings and a ban by the Health and Human Services Agency due to the risks associated with consuming silver ions. Despite warnings, Amy's excessive intake of colloidal silver led to her skin turning a bluish hue. In May 2020, a former group member was discovered in a forest, nude, confused, dehydrated, and undernourished, after being cast out for allegedly possessing too low energy. By year's end, Amy, Jason, and 14 loyal followers relocated to Hawaii. Their peculiar actions and Amy's assertion of being a Hawaiian deity incited local opposition and protests, ultimately forcing their departure back to Colorado. Amy's condition worsened significantly. She grew weaker and was bedridden. Despite her dire state and pleas for genuine medical care, her followers declined outside medical assistance, fearing it would expose her to further risk. Opting to pray for her recuperation, they neglected to provide Mother God with the medical intervention she desperately sought. In the subsequent year, the situation grew increasingly complex. Devotees of the sect believed they might lose Amy at any moment. The group relocated to California and initiated a fresh series of broadcasts. On April 16, 2021, during a live stream, a member informed the audience that matters were not progressing smoothly and that Amy was nearing her physical demise, potentially leaving her corporeal existence at any time. That same night, he announced in an update, "Mother is set to ascend tonight." Amy's biological family, her mother and siblings, were vigilantly monitoring these updates to glean insights into her condition. The latest news deeply concerned them. The family reached out to the authorities, requesting a welfare check, but upon the police's arrival at the given address, they were greeted by 2 sect members at the door, claiming Amy was absent. The following day, another member declared on his social media that the Divine Mother no longer suffers. She has ascended, leaving her followers to appreciate the immense benevolence Amy contributed by rescuing their wayward spirits and negating all malice in the world. Followers were convinced that Amy Carlson, deemed the originator of all and Mother God, had departed this realm for good, a belief reinforced by other members who remarked on her passing and shared her images. Oddly, mere hours after these tributes and snapshots were shared during a live session, another sect member suggested Amy was still battling for life and currently recuperating. Subsequently, 9 days afterward, the police uncovered Carlson's remains following Miguel Lamboy, erstwhile known as God the Father, reported a grim discovery at his residence. It emerged that Amy's companion, Jason Castillo, along with her adherents, had transported her body by car from California back to Colorado, to Lamboy's apartment where their journey commenced. They arrived unannounced, failing to inform him of Amy's demise. The sect insisted that Mother God had recently been alive, showing signs of life through movements of her hands, rhythmic chest rises and falls, and a detectable pulse. Nevertheless, the decomposition state indicated she had passed away significantly earlier. In essence, the followers were in denial about her death, interacting with their deceased leader as though she remained among the living. Owing to the state of the corpse, establishing the precise reason for Amy Carlson's demise proved challenging for the medical examiner. It appears that her death was primarily caused by excessive consumption of colloidal silver, coupled with alcohol intake and anorexia. Irrespective of her journey's end, Amy had ascended to the fifth dimension. On one side, her adherents rejoiced, yet on the other, they found it hard to adjust to existence without their guide. Jason Castillo and 6 other members of the group faced charges related to the mishandling of human remains. They spent the summer and autumn of 2021 awaiting their trial, only for the prosecutor to suddenly and without fanfare dismiss the charges in December, opting to let these individuals be. The collective's assets, valued at $300,000, were listed under Miguel Lamboy's name, who was also the sole proprietor of the group's main facility. Following the removal of Amy's body from his property, he vanished with the funds, prompting speculation that he was the actual architect of the scheme, orchestrating events from behind the scenes. He refuted these claims, stating that it is common for spiritual leaders to use alternate names in official records. Lamboy further professed his ongoing faith in Amy and her celestial origins. Following the demise of the cult leader, the Love Has Won movement persisted, fragmenting into various groups, all active online and marketing assorted items. Its members hold on to the belief that they will eventually ascend to the fifth dimension to reunite with Amy Carlson. Jason Castillo has established his faction, claiming to embody both Father God and Mother God energies, and asserts that his is the only genuine group, labeling the rest as imposters. Now residing in tents with his close associates, he shares his experiences on the internet. Astonishingly, these splinter groups from the Love Has Won movement continue to function, drawing in followers and securing donations. To this day, there are individuals who have faith in their cause and are prepared to financially back them. This is the end of the story. Like the video and leave your thoughts in the comments. This was Jeremy. See you soon.